Just when you thought it couldn't get any worse. Um, man. All right. The Knicks lose an absolute heartbreaker to the Oklahoma City Thunder, 113-112. Played a classic, or truly a classic, different sort of classic for the second game in a row. The last classic was defined by just incredibly outstanding individual performances. This was just two great teams going at it, with certainly some big performances to talk about. I think there was more stuffed into this game in terms of just this game featured everything and then some. As much as any game we have seen all season. The difference, of course, between tonight and Friday is on Friday, the Knicks were playing a great player, but a bad team. And they came out, knowing they were playing a bad team, and they played down to the competition, except the competition didn't want to play down to their usual standards, and it made the night much more difficult than it should have been. That's why that was a classic. This Oklahoma City Thunder team is not a bad team. They are, I would go so far as to say, a great team. Their point differential certainly says that they are a great team. I think when you watch how they go about their business, you watch how much different things they could throw at you. How many ways they find a way to put pressure on you on both ends of the floor constantly. They require you to play 48 minutes of basketball. Certainly 48 minutes of extremely high level basketball if you are another great team. And if you are a team like the Knicks right now, who are hobbled and not at full strength, the Knicks damn near needed to play 48 minutes of perfect basketball. And did they try? Which is why, look, there will be things to criticize tonight. There will be things to be aggravated about tonight. And for the second fucking game in a row, the refereeing is going to be a topic of conversation. Because I didn't even check whatever the final free throw disparity was. I imagine, I know the Knicks went to the line a lot in the fourth quarter. Yeah, the Knicks ended up outshooting them from the free throw line 34-24. But at the same time, you all watched the game, or if you didn't watch the game, I guess I'll try to describe it. Like, I did not get the sense that that was an even whistle yet again. And but even if you wanted to say that it was an even whistle, for Jalen Brunson not to get the foul call, the and one on that final incredible, what a make that was over Chet Holmgren, and he should have gone to the line for an extra shot. And I shouldn't be sitting here talking to you yet, because we should be still in the midst of overtime, if anything. But here we are, because sometimes things don't go your way. Um, Obviously, the free throws were not the free throw. Any issues with the refereeing were not the only story from the free throw line. Both teams missed an inordinate amount of free throws throughout the game, but especially in the fourth quarter. Um, I like. I don't know. I'm gonna have a tough time sitting here and being really too crazily upset about the free throws. This is the first time we've seen this sort of thing happen from the Knicks all season. Um, Maybe it was something in the air at MSG, because the Oklahoma City Thunder had just as significant of issues at the free throw line as the Knicks did. So it's like, call it a draw. And it's just an absolute heartbreaker. It's an absolute heartbreaker. This team gave everything they had. I thought for the first three quarters, the Knicks played as good a defense as I have seen them play all season, which is saying something, considering that they had OG Anunoby, who did not rise from the dead today, unfortunately. We'll see about, I don't know. Maybe he's postponing Easter in the Anunoby household a week or so. Which is saying something when they had OG Anunoby for however many games they had him for. But yeah, that defense was outstanding. And then, you let go of the rope just a little bit. It's a not closing all the way out. If you're, Josh Hart missed a closeout. It was obviously Oklahoma City getting in transition. I'm talking about early in the fourth quarter because that was really where the game turned. Brain said it a few times on the broadcast. The Knicks were I don't know what they were 40 something and or 30 something and two this year when they had the lead going into the fourth quarter, and they had a 10-point lead going into this fourth quarter, and that 10-point lead evaporated. If I can't snap my fingers. If I could, I would snap them right now because it didn't take any amount of time, and like it was the Knicks had literally two possessions, and I think one was a missed Burks runner, and then another one was another miss, and they got the offensive rebound but couldn't turn it into anything, and that's all it takes, 7-0 run. Got a little bit of bad luck. I think Josh Giddey. I don't know what it is, man. Between Josh Giddey, well, I know what it is with J Dub because the reports on that were pretty clear that the Knicks liked him ahead of that draft. They worked him out. They liked him. Tibbs liked him for sure. And I have a funny feeling every time that dude plays the Knicks for the rest of his career, we're going to be getting a lot more of what we got tonight, which is really fucking unfortunate. And of all this is going to sound messed up because like that game hurt a lot, just what we saw on the court. I think the thing that maybe hurts the most is that dude did it because he should be a Knick. And I know the salary stuff. And I'm sure if Jeremy Cohen is hearing this or watching this, he is shaking his head in fury that I'm bringing up the fact that he could have been a Knick. But so look, and let's put it this way: if he's a Knick, Isaiah Hartenstein at the very least is not, and it would the Brunson part of it would have been dicey too. So maybe I shouldn't have even brought it up. It's just frustrating because they had the opportunity. Let's just say that they had the opportunity. And Giddey is the other one who, I mean, Jesus, you lose a game by 1 point. Josh Giddey goes 2 or 3 from 3. He's had a ton of games this year where opposing teams have left him wide open because like this Oklahoma City team does not give you any hiding spots. They don't give you anything. They give you no safe quarter anywhere on either end of the floor. The one thing they give you is you could leave Giddey open because he's not going to hit 3. Well, tonight he hit 2 threes out of 3 attempts, and you could argue that was the difference in the game. I already mentioned the beginning of the fourth quarter, and in general, the non Brunson minutes. Jalen Brunson in this game, I know Jalen Brunson didn't have a great game. He needed 25 shots to get his 30 points, but for the second straight game in a game that they lost, I forget what the final margin was in San Antonio. I think it was 2 or 3 points. Brunson was a plus 20 in that game. Tonight, the margin is 1. Jalen Brunson, a plus 17. Absolutely not an accident. They cannot figure out how to do fuck anything at all without him on the floor. And I just, for the life of me, don't see how that changes until they get at least one of these guys back who they're missing. And I don't, and the news pregame on that front was not great. So you can turn to that. Obviously I mentioned the missed free throws. And the other thing I'll bring up is, and it didn't really manifest itself until the fourth quarter. I thought Oklahoma City is big. When I say that, knowing that they're going to come up against a team in the Western Conference playoffs and their lack of size at one position in particular, the center position, and not that Chet's awesome. Chet's a beast. Chet's going to be multi-time all defense, all-star player. He's awesome. But right now he's frail and he's not great on the boards, and you can push him around. And Isaiah Hartenstein did push him around. And when he goes up against the Jokic's and the Goberts and like Anthony Davis or something in the first round, they're going to have a problem. So they lack size there at that specific spot. And the Knicks, I thought, did a good job of exploiting that for the most part. They got 15 offensive rebounds tonight, which is good. It's very good. But other than that position, the fact that the Knicks are starting, and they have to, and this is not a criticism of their starting lineup. It's just this is the way it has to be right now because it's very clear who their starting lineup should be. They're starting 4 players who are 6'4" or under. And, SGA is, I don't know what his listed height is, 6'5", 6'6", whatever it is. He's big. Jalen Williams is a fucking tank, like those two, and Giddey for as much as he can't hit a 3, usually he did tonight. Like that dude's whatever he is, 6'7", 6'8". I mean, he's massive. And I thought his minutes, I really thought Giddey's minutes there in the fourth quarter, not only the threes, but his drives when they just had nothing. I thought they changed the game. And when you have those three guys who play so big and are big and play bigger for the positions that they are, and there's only so much you could do if you're this small Knick team. And I feel bad. I'm 12 minutes into this closing or opening monologue, and I'm just now mentioning Deuce McBride. Deuce McBride was a rock star in this game. I'll make one more Kurt Easter analogy. That dude had SGA nailed to a cross for 47 minutes and 55 seconds. And SGA just, not that he couldn't figure him out, but like he frustrated him. Gilgeous-Alexander was going to finish second or third in MVP. He had 19 points, which is obviously much below his average. The dude's averaging 30 points a game and 7 of 16 shooting. And it's not like he was impacting the game in other ways either. He only had 3 assists, and that was all McBride. I lost track of the amount of times that I wrote down Deuce McBride's name for outstanding defensive possessions. Him, and I thought the other guy who was the player of this game without question was Isaiah Hartenstein. And scored 17 points. He's been scoring a lot more lately. Only had 12 rebounds, 5 assists. Like that dude dominated. That dude dominated at both ends. Like those two players, Isaiah Hartenstein and Deuce McBride, where the Knicks would be without them right now. We wanted Friday's win so badly for Jalen Brunson. We wanted this win. I wanted this win for Isaiah Hartenstein and Deuce McBride, and selfishly, I wanted it for the Knicks because they won this game. They're back in third place. And, Cavs lost earlier tonight to Denver, arguably the hardest game of the upcoming 5-game road trip that they have. They're still out west. Lakers are playing better. That's good news. Clippers are playing better. That's good news. We'll see if they can, what the rest of the road trip looks like for them, and for the next, this hurt. I thought if they could get this, it makes the San Antonio loss disappear. Well, now you have the San Antonio loss and you have this loss, and now you got to go down to Miami. And Miami, I tried to watch as much of their game tonight as possible. I'll save it for the out-of-town scoreboard, but not that we can't beat Miami in Miami, but this would have been big. This would have been a big win. And they didn't get it. And it's absolutely heartbreaking, especially, you look at the minutes. McBride gave you 46. Hart gave you 45. Hart with 15 rebounds, 13.6 assists. It wasn't his best game, and yet you look up and he has that stat line. It's like, how can you criticize him? And DiVincenzo's the one who is going to probably own this more than anyone. Had him his free throw there in the fourth quarter, obviously, but 4-16 from 3. I would take him attempting those 16 looks any day of the week. Any day of the week, because you always feel like the next one's going down because he feels like the next one's going down. And right now for this team, and I don't know if people are going to criticize him, I hope not. But if anybody's thinking about criticizing DiVincenzo for putting up 16 shots from deep, 18 overall, you have to understand that for this offense to function with any semblance of sustainability, these guys who can actually hit shots from downtown, and I'm talking about Deuce, and I'm talking about McBride, those two guys, if they have an open look, they have to take it. They have to take it because that, as we always talk about, spacing is different than shooting. If they take it, it's that is what is going to make defenses respect them. What's going to open up driving lanes. It's going to open up room. It's what makes all of the fancy running around and all the movement. It's what makes it have an impact. And so I have no issue with him taking as many shots as he did. Unfortunately, a few more didn't go in. The Knicks, at the end of the day, shot 30% from downtown to the Thunder's 38%. You want to say that's what decided the game. 54% almost from the field for the Thunder to 41% from the field for the Knicks. You could say that decided the game. There's just so many things that you could turn to and say, man, if it was just this, if it was just that, different outcome. And I just like Friday's game was the most heartbreaking loss of the year. Well, that lasted all of 2 days, and I hope to the good Lord on this Easter Sunday that we do not have another loss that is more heartbreaking than this before the end of the season. Really, really tough. Really, really tough.